Life of Luxury is a series that began in early 2019. Created by Parker and Chester, each episode follows a familiar, unsettling pattern. Parker reveals an email or disturbing footage sent in by a victim who believes something unnatural or outright paranormal is happening inside their homes. From there, the duo sets out to investigate, documenting whatever entity, presence, or phenomenon is tormenting the residents. Night after night, they place themselves in danger, facing creatures that are grotesque, inhuman, and almost always hostile. In this video, we'll break down these monsters one by one, examining their appearance, behavior, and threat level, and determine whether it's even remotely possible to survive a direct encounter with these horrific abominations. Tommy is one of the most disturbing entities in Life of Luxury, originally believed to be Candace's missing son, but the real Tommy had died a year earlier, meaning the creature that climbed through her window was an imposter, wearing his clothes and mimicking his habits. This Tommy looks humanoid, but at night, his body mutates violently, his limbs stretch to unnatural lengths, his neck expands outward like a flail, and his head can rotate a full 360 degrees, without injury. His face is sometimes hidden behind a mask, and his tongue is long, black, and slick, designed for feeding. Tommy behaves like a parasitic predator, bound to a nightly growth cycle. When darkness falls, he lies still beneath blankets before rapidly expanding in size, bones stretching under his skin as he emits painful wails. Then he stalks through the house with unnatural intelligence, always returning to Candace. Using his tongue, he penetrates the base of her skull and drains cerebrospinal fluid. Candace shows signs of severe neurological collapse, suggesting Tommy keeps her alive just so he can milk her, repeatedly. His strength is overwhelming. He smashes doors, drags victims through windows, and moves with inhuman speed. His threat level is extreme. Tommy cannot be reasoned with, contained, or distracted. Locked doors, boarded windows, and surveillance do nothing to stop him. Once attached to a victim, he becomes relentlessly territorial, and returns night after night until the host collapses or disappears entirely. Even Parker and Chester barely survive encounters with him. Survival against Tommy is unlikely. The only real chance is to evacuate the home before nightfall and immediately separate yourself from the targeted victim. Staying inside, hiding, or trying to confront him almost always ends in paralysis, abduction, or death. Against Tommy, escape is the only option, because once he begins feeding, it's already too late. The bedworm is a grotesque parasite introduced in We Bought a Parasite Off the Dark Web video. Resembling an oversized tapeworm with the same biological structure, a long segmented body packed with eggs, ready to spread into new hosts. Initially bought as a pet, the creature quickly proves to be an invasive apex parasite, with extreme mobility and an instinct to burrow into flesh. Its bite is the first sign of infection, marking Chester as its primary host. Once inside a human body, the bedworm's offspring spread rapidly. Chester begins experiencing swelling, internal movement, and pain as the parasites replicate beneath his skin. Attempts to seek medical help fail. First with the incompetent Dr. Mumley, who suggests amputating Chester's stomach. As the night progresses, the worm's behavior accelerates. It escapes containment, skitters throughout the house at unnatural speeds, and eventually returns to Chester, launching itself into his body through his lower cavity to rejoin its offspring. The bedworm's intelligence is limited, but its instinct for survival is extreme. It can detect its host from across a room, move faster than a human can react, and force entry through any available opening. Once connected to a host, its goal is simple: multiply, burrow, and consume from the inside out. The parasites inside Chester demonstrate rapid growth, coordinated movement, and an ability to fuse their life cycle between internal and external phases. Survival against a bedworm is nearly impossible once bitten. Early evacuation and immediate professional medical intervention offer the only slim chance, but the parasite's speed, stealth, and relentless return to its host make escape unlikely. If the worm has already begun reproducing beneath the skin, the victim's fate is almost certainly sealed. The organism will keep entering, feeding, and nesting until the host collapses from systematic failure. Taylor's stalker appears to be a deranged, mentally unstable intruder who navigates her home with unnatural movement and disturbing noise. His most defining feature is his height, that allows him to tower over door frames and move with jerky, insect like steps. His face is obscured by either a mask or smeared face paint, framed by long, messy hair along the sides of his head. Even before Parker and Chester arrive, Taylor reports hearing footsteps, animalistic screams, and receiving disturbing photos, leaving her convinced that someone is secretly living inside her home. After receiving Taylor's email, Parker and Chester suspect either hallucinations or an escaped patient from the nearby mental asylum. Upon entering the home, Taylor explains that her stalker enters at night and hides somewhere within the house. Once the cameras are set up, the truth becomes impossible to deny. As Parker and Chester monitor the footage from their car, the stalker suddenly emerges from a bedroom, his height unnatural, his movements twitchy and unpredictable. The two immediately react in horror, as they question how he is taller than the doorway, and what is wrong with his distorted face. As the night continues, Taylor's stalker grows more erratic. He notices a camera at the bottom of the stairs and begins behaving wildly before smashing it. Moments later, he is seen under Taylor's bed sheets, slowly revealing himself as the camera glitches and her fear escalates. When Taylor wakes up and screams, Parker and Chester rush inside, only to find the stalker already approaching them through the doorway, his towering silhouette barely fitting within the frame. The three escape the house and flee into the night, with Parker and Chester attempting to contact Taylor's parents, calls that were never returned. The stalker's identity, origins, and motives remain unknown, but one thing is clear: he is not simply trespassing. He is living inside the home, watching, waiting, and creeping closer every night. Billy is another distorted humanoid whose transformation mirrors Tommy's, hinting at a larger pattern behind these creatures. He appears lanky and malformed, with extremely long limbs, a stretched frame, and wild black hair that shoots out in every direction. He wears a white shirt with red sleeves, and though his age is never stated, his behavior suggests he has regressed into something primal and predatory. Like Tommy, Billy's Jurassic physical changes begin after entering the woods, suggesting that whatever infected Tommy may have also reshaped Billy into this unnatural form. Billy's behavior ranges from vacant to violent. Early footage shows him drooling uncontrollably at Debbie, before he suddenly shifts into manic excitement when offered food. Throughout the night, he repeatedly bangs his head against a wall and screams, as if reacting to internal pain or fighting urges he can't control. His erratic movements escalate until he smashes a plate over his own head and twists into a disturbing spider-like pose, using his long limbs to move in unnatural ways. As Parker and Chester monitor the house, Billy becomes increasingly predatory. He peers silently into their room from the hallway before ultimately attacking Ronnie and consuming him off camera. Unlike many Life of Luxury antagonists, Billy does not pursue Parker and Chester after the attack, implying his goal was singular and instinctual, rather than territorial or malicious. His transformation pattern, behavior, and anatomy strongly suggests that the same force, entity, or infection that created Tommy is also responsible for Billy. Given his unpredictable movement and bursts of violent strength, survival against Billy depends entirely on distance and early escape. Once he snaps into predatory mode, his speed and erratic locomotion make close-range encounters nearly impossible to survive. Like Tommy, Billy embodies an infection that reshapes human biology into something spider-like, ravenous, and barely sentient. Another reminder that whatever lurks in those woods is a true enemy. The imaginary friend's first appearance instantly sets him apart from the other life of luxury creatures, with one haunting trait. He cannot be seen with the naked eye. Only night vision technology reveals his true form. Physically, he's a thin, elongated humanoid, with an unnaturally protruding neck, a tangled mess of hair covering his face, and a patterned shirt with jeans and black shoes. Despite his frail appearance, he possesses enough strength and anatomical distortion to swallow a human whole, much like Billy. Parker and Chester become involved after receiving an email from a distressed woman named Barbara. She explains that her son Tamar died in a fire, and ever since then, her son Caleb has acted increasingly disturbed, stealing her undergarments, cutting a girl's hair, and becoming violent. Caleb insists that he has an imaginary friend, but Barbara believes something much darker is happening. When Parker and Chester confront Caleb in his room, he vomits a strange, goo-like substance on Parker, hinting that whatever is influencing him has already taken root. Later that night, the truth becomes horrifyingly clear. Under night vision, the imaginary friend emerges and silently devours Caleb whole. As Parker and Chester search for him, Chester is attacked by the invisible creature, confirming that it can physically interact with the real world even when unseen. Before they can react, the imaginary friend turns his attention to Barbara, consuming her in the dark while the two investigators flee the house. To this day, Parker and Chester have received no updates from Barbara or Caleb, and their footage suggests the unthinkable. This being was never a figment of a grieving child's imagination. It was real, and it was waiting for the right moment to step into their world. Eugene was once a loving husband and a father, but his deep insecurity about his appearance pushed him to join the Men's Enhancement Club, a decision that marked the end of who he used to be. After his visit, he returned home on foot through the woods, leaving his car behind, and what walked through the door was no longer human. His face was peeled and stretched unnaturally across his skull, his eyes black and hollow, his mouth hanging open as though the muscles no longer worked. His pale, patchwork skin looked assembled from multiple bodies, his limbs unusually slender, and his facial features misaligned as if stitched on without any understanding of anatomy. Whatever Eugene was before, he was now consumed by an obsession with becoming perfect. From that point on, Eugene isolated himself in the basement, surrounded by black goo, discarded flesh, and half-completed enhancements. His personality deteriorated into something emotionless and predatory. What used to be a father became a psychopath devoted to rebuilding his body using whatever materials he could gather. His twisted version of becoming perfect involved harvesting skin, attaching new limbs, and molding himself like a living sculpture, no matter the cost to those around him. His enhanced form is barely recognizable as human. Eugene can slide effortlessly across floors coated in black slime. This substance allows him to slip into the skin of others, wearing them like crude costumes. He can assimilate bodies from the inside, construct bone and nerve tissue, detach fragments of himself to infiltrate victims, and twist his torso backward like a spider preparing to strike. Even in his imperfect state, his control over his flesh suit lets him move in ways no human body should allow. Despite his surgical experiments constantly failing, skin slipping off, bones cracking, tendons tearing, Eugene continues his pursuit of the perfect body. He has the knowledge to reconstruct flesh, the strength to overpower victims, and the patience to craft new forms over and over again. Whatever he became in that men's enhancement group, Eugene is no longer a man. He's a creator, a collector, and a parasite determined to build his masterpiece, using anyone unlucky enough to be near him. The forest creature is one of the most horrifying entities Parker and Chester have ever encountered. A towering black humanoid with skin so dark it absorbs light, contrasted only by its bright eyes and a stretched toothy grin. Its hair hangs in long, tangled gray clumps, framing a neck that twists at impossible angles. Though skeletal and malnourishment in appearance, its limbs are elongated, crooked, and unnervingly fast, capable of carrying it either on all fours or upright at a towering height of over 10 feet. This creature first appears in the video It Waits Until You Fall Asleep, where Chester first captures it on camera dragging a woman into the woods. Its attacks escalate throughout the night, eventually breaking into Chad's room, killing him, and leaving his body pinned to the wall like a grotesque trophy. The same fate befalls the Stalker woman, who desperately enters the house seeking safety, only for the creature to slip inside and finish what it started. What makes the forest creature especially terrifying is its unnatural physical capabilities. It can stretch its arms and neck to disturbing lengths, allowing it to reach victims through windows, doors, or even from the shadows of the forest. Its jet black skin grants exceptional camouflage in the night woods, making it nearly invisible until it's too late. Despite its frail appearance, it possesses startling strength, easily dragging Chester across the floor and thrashing him like a ragdoll. Silent, patient, and perfectly adapted for nocturnal hunting, the forest creature represents the pure predatory nature of the unknown, waiting just beyond the tree line for anyone who dares to fall asleep. That concludes our descent into the twisted world of Life of Luxury's creatures. Each one more unnatural, more unpredictable, and more impossible to survive than the last. If you made it this far, you're braver than most. Let me know which entity you want broken down next. And remember, if you ever hear footsteps at night or see something standing outside your door, do not investigate. Some things aren't meant to be found. And until next time, friends.